Hello, this is the second video in which I talk about how to play guitar in the style of Woody Guthrie. Now, before you watch this video and have a go at some of the techniques that I'm going to introduce, it's probably best that you've watched the first video and pretty well mastered the techniques that I introduced there. In that first video, I talked about how to accompany yourself on the guitar in the style of Woody Guthrie whilst you're singing. In this second video, I'm going to focus on how to play the little melodic instrumental breaks that Woody played in the middles of his songs, or as introductions to his songs. As I said in the first video, Woody based his guitar technique more or less on the guitar technique of Maybelle Carter, who was the main guitarist in the original Carter family who started recording in the late 1920s. She played something that nowadays is often referred to as Carter picking, or the Carter scratch. She played guitar more or less like this. That was a little bit of melody from the song Wildwood Flower, which is one of the Carter family's most famous records. Hopefully you could see that what I was doing was picking out the melody mostly on the bass strings like this, and also trying to keep my hand more or less in the shape of the chord shapes of the song. And in between the notes, where there was space, I was inserting the odd strum or two, like this. And those are the basic elements of the Carter picking technique that Woody Guthrie adopted. Now, Maybelle Carter didn't use a plectrum or guitar pick like I was then, and like Woody Guthrie used. She tended to use her thumb and her fingers for picking. She'd pick out the melody with her thumb, with a thumb pick on it, and play the strums in between with her index finger. You've probably noticed that so far I've been playing guitar using chord shapes from the key of C, like I did in the first video. I've been using C, F, and G, and G7. Although I've had my capo on the second fret there, which means that I've actually been playing in the key of D. But for the sake of simplicity, like before, let's just talk about that as a C, that as an F, and that as a G7. Now, one of the main reasons that Woody Guthrie and Maybelle Carter like to play songs using chord shapes from the key of C, and often with a capo, is that melody notes fall nicely under your fingers. They're either part of the chord that you're holding down, or the melody notes can be easily made by taking a finger off and playing an open note, or adding a finger to the chord. Here, for example, is the C major scale, and watch my fingers. I'm not suggesting that Woody Guthrie and Maybelle Carter spent hours practicing their major scales like classical musicians tend to do. I would say, however, it's probably a good idea to get reasonably familiar with that C major scale and get your fingers used to putting themselves down in the places they need to be when you pick out the melodies to songs, as you would be doing with the Carter picking technique. So, here's the C major scale. Going from the low notes to the high notes, the first note is played on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, then you play the 4th string open, then you play the 2nd fret 4th string, 3rd fret 4th string, then the 3rd string open, the 2nd fret 3rd string, the 2nd string open, and finally the 1st fret 2nd string. Notice which fingers I'm using to play the notes. So the notes on the 1st fret are being played by my 1st finger, the notes on the 2nd fret by my 2nd finger, and the notes on the 3rd fret by my 3rd finger. There are also some notes you can play going down from that first note, like this. Sometimes you might need to use those. So that's 3rd fret 5th string, 2nd fret 5th string, 5th string open, 3rd fret 6th string, and 1st fret 6th string. So, in order to play those little melodic instrumental breaks like Woody Guthrie and Maybelle Carter, the first thing you need to be able to do is to pick out the melody for the song you're playing on mostly the bass notes of your guitar. Here's the melody to This Land Is Your Land. The basic melody to This Land Is Your Land has 5 main parts. The first part is this. So to play that, you make your C chord shape, pick the note on the 5th string, play an open note on the 4th string, put your finger back on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then you make your F shape and play the note on the 4th string twice. So that's. The second part goes like this. So you're holding down your F shape, you play the note on the 4th string, then you move your 3rd finger over to the 3rd fret of the 5th string, then you play an open note on the 4th string, then you put your C chord shape down again and play the note on the 4th string twice. The third part goes like this. So there are 2 ways of going about playing that. You could make the 4-finger C shape like that, and then you simply play the note on the 6th string, followed by the note on the 5th string, followed by the note on the 4th string. And then you make your G7 shape and play the note on the 4th string. So that's what I sometimes do. Sometimes, however, I stay with the 3-finger C, move my 3rd finger over onto the 6th string, 3rd fret, to play that first note, then move it back to play the C note, then the note on the 4th string, and then make the G7 shape and play the note on the 4th string. So that's. The 4th part goes like this. So you have your fingers in the G7 shape, you play the open 4th string, then you put your little finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string and play that note, then you play the open note on the 4th string again, then you make the C shape and play the note you get there on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, so that's. After that, you play the first part, followed by the second part, and then you play this 5th part. So, you have your hand in the G7 shape, you play 3 notes on the open 4th string, then you drop your little finger down again onto the 3rd fret of the 5th string, play that note, then lift it off and play the note on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and then you play your C shape again and play the note on the 5th string. So that's. So putting that all together, it goes like this. First part, second part, third part, 4th part, first part, second part, fifth part. So, in order to turn this now into Woody Guthrie's Carter picking technique, what you do is you insert strums whenever there's a gap between the notes in the melody, like this. So, there you have the basic Woody Guthrie style Carter picking technique. Now, in the example that I've given you of how to play This Land Is Your Land, the strums that I inserted in those gaps in the melody were all single down strums, but you may want to add some up strums as well and make it a little more interesting, as we did with the accompanying strum, where we added down up strums in between the bass notes, like this. And you may want to add the odd hammer on as well. And make it sound a little like this.